Well, somebody that just wants to put the spotlight on them.
Make sure you keep the camera on me.
The game revolves around them, and you're going to win or lose because of me.
I love me some me.
That's, to me, what a diva is.
All 6 of them to work his tail off.
5 seconds left. 4, you dreaming? 3, 4, number 3.
2 rushing 2 weeks.
1.
How do you define a diva?
You too pretty. Right there, number 2, you too pretty.
Whenever I think of the word diva, I think of a hot woman.
Not in this show.
A diva is a guy who is dramatic, overly dramatic.
He's got to be a little braggadocious, don't you think?
Come on, baby, with your sweet.
These are the guys who are celebrated. The squeaky wheel gets the oil and the endorsement deals.
Defining a diva is tough.
A diva is really someone who says, look at me.
Look, mama, they got these cameras on me again.
The diva has to stick out.
When I think of a diva, I think of self-absorption.
There are many factors to consider.
A diva is someone who whines, who complains, who's crying all the time.
No, I'm tired of running. They'll rap or nothing.
But when the game is on the line, the diva almost always delivers.
Picked off! Sanders!
The players on our list may be football divas, but they're all great players. We're counting down them all.
Madonna is a diva to me.
Well, almost all of them.
The number 10 football diva of all time, Tom Brady.
Number 10.
Tom Brady, is he sort of underrated as a diva?
No, I wish I could be Tom Brady.
No, I don't think he fits the definition even a little bit.
Sorry, guys, you're right. Tom Brady is one of the best QBs of all time. He's been to 6 Pro Bowls, he's won 3 Lombardi trophies, and twice been MVP. There's just one problem.
He is a diva.
Patriots fans still love you, Tom, but you're making this really hard, okay? You're making this really hard. Well, let me try to be nice here. He's not helping his cause. The hair doesn't help? You know, this would have worked in 1993.
He's got that pretty boy image.
Tom Brady strikes me as a classic pretty boy.
It's only the hair. It's only because he has the long hair.
He's had 15 different haircuts. I don't know whether he's a woman or a man. I can't tell.
Our number 10 football diva has a bunch of hair, and it causes some controversy.
The hair pulled behind the ears looking real awkward.
Oh, what are you shopping at Hollister with the other 14-year-olds? Come on.
A low-key diva.
He's a celebrity. He's kind of caught up in his celebrity status.
Calvin Klein, GQ. I think he's definitely a diva.
I don't quite get it. And Brady is one of the toughest players at the quarterback position in the National Football League.
Whenever I think of the word diva, I think of a hot woman.
This former sad sack has a woman most men would like to get in the sack.
You can't make fun of a guy that's rolling with that hottie.
Giselle Bundchen, and that kind of like negates every awkward, corny thing that he's ever done.
There would be 2 hours a night most men would sob that they had married Giselle Bundchen. They just hit their knees and cry and go, for God's sakes, why am I this lucky?
My gosh, if you got Giselle on your side and you're in Rio de Janeiro, I don't care how bad you dance.
The dancing at Carnival didn't help?
Did that terrible dance in Brazil with a scrunchie in his hair.
I'm going home with her. You lose. He's got all the cachet.
I think there's some green envy behind the diva talk.
He's shopping probably right now on Fifth Avenue.
Please tell me where I can sign up to be like Tom Brady.
He's a diva.
I don't look at Tom Brady as a diva.
I don't consider him a diva.
Not a diva.
Gotta work harder. Gotta do more.
He's like a half a diva.
Is he morphing into diva territory? Yes.
Certainly a pretty boy, Brady, no question about it. And if he gets hair plugs, that's just a disgrace.
Coming up, which football diva has the most hair-raising antics?
That's consummate diva.
Hairstyles come and go, but a unique hairstyle is a requirement for any diva. Football divas are no exception.
I'm growing my hair out next year so we can be long-haired brothers.
But it takes more than a crazy cut to make the cut on our countdown.
The number 9 football diva of all time, Randy Moss.
He might be the quintessential example of a diva.
Randy Moss is one of the most talented receivers in NFL history.
Another spectacular catch by this incredible football player.
But he's been labeled a malcontent and a football diva.
Randy Moss is a diva.
Diva. When you have a press conference and you say, I'm going to ask the questions, that puts you in diva category, okay?
I will come here and try to do the best I can to rip the NFL up.
Yeah, that's consummate diva.
Randy Moss didn't talk to the media.
He doesn't want to deal with the media. I don't even think he perks up when he sees the cameras.
Let's go out there and play a ball game.
He shuns the media.
Talking to Randy Moss was a waste of my time.
It's been a long couple weeks of really trying to change.
Moss wouldn't piss on us if we were on fire in the media.
Moss just seems like a little kid to me.
This football diva isn't afraid to make the tough catches or go third person.
Can't let Moss do that now.
84 don't stretch on game day. I come ready. I came out the womb, I was ready.
Sometimes it looks as if it's about Randy Moss.
Hey, don't stop giving me that ball. Don't stop giving me the ball. Come on.
That Ray Buchanan cannot guard me.
No, I know that.
He can be a great teammate and really a team leader when he's into it.
He makes plays that take your breath away, but it's the plays he takes off that help make him a football diva.
Becoming an Oakland Raider in the silver and black. I mean, I'm happy because I get a new start.
You know, when he was in Oakland, I thought he had some shameful performances.
I'm committed to excellence.
Well, he did say, I practice when I want to practice.
Randy tries to go up with one hand. That's just not going to get it done, Randy Moss.
You may question his dedication to football and his dedication to his craft.
I'm sure lots of players take plays off in the NFL. I doubt many players have taken as many plays off as Randy Moss did.
There are times where Randy clearly checks out on the team concept and starts thinking about Randy.
You should have told him tail. I thought you told him. No, I told you.
He's a diva, but he wasn't as loudmouthed about it.
What you done today, Nappy Hill? Huh? What you done today?
Self-absorption, showboating.
But I think he's misunderstood. It's just this weird guy. He mooned people.
That is a disgusting act.
Most divas are a little bit likable, and that's kind of what makes it fun. I'm not sure Moss is likable enough.
Make that damn official come pry it out of your hands after you score a touchdown. All right, Randy? Make him come pry it off.
He's in the top 5 at least. I don't know how he got down that low.
How is Randy Moss not in the top 3?
I think Moss was just a free spirit.
And Randy Moss is right at the top of the list.
The number 8 football diva of all time, Joe Theismann.
Joe Theismann, obviously a diva. He changed his name.
Oh, Joey T. Well, first of all, wasn't his name Theismann originally?
First of all, he changed his name from Theismann to Theismann to rhyme with Heisman when he was at Notre Dame. The perception that is associated with that could turn some people's stomachs. I get it.
Theismann rhymes with Heisman, even though his name was Theismann.
And you start doing things like that at a young age, you probably are a showboat.
Yeah, Joe was a diva. Talked a lot. Still talking.
Always enjoyed sitting down with media.
But then we're the NFC champions, that's all that matters.
Now, Joe could talk now. We know that.
One time Sports Illustrated came to interview him in camp, and I said, well, how long are you here? He says, well, I'm going to be here about 3 days. I said, oh, that's good. He said, well, I got 100 questions. I says, oh, that's good.
Never, ever wanted to know questions beforehand because I wanted to see what kind of answers I could come up with.
So about 2 days later, I says, how you doing? He goes, I'm only on number 8.
He'd have something to say about everything.
Has something to say about everything.
He just talked all the time.
He didn't shut up. I mean, he was a chatter machine.
Cocky? Yes. Kathy Lee Crosby and all that.
In the early 80s, Kathy Lee Crosby was the host of the hit series That's Incredible. She was also our number 8 Football Divas girlfriend.
But unfortunately, like a lot of Joe's marriages, that didn't end up too well.
The fur coat. Come on, Joe.
I chuckle at some of the things I did. I mean, I had a fur coyote coat.
Joe just loved the camera. Joe's hair was always perfect.
The only better hair around is Donald Trump's.
He had great skin. Joe's nails were good. I'm sure his toenails were done too. I never looked down when I was around him, and he was naked after a game, but...
Who gives a off the field? Off the field doesn't matter.
Let's go to work out.
In the Crucible, he was a beast. And he took the most frightening hit ever and had the most frightening results, and he seemed to maintain being a mensch about it.
He sustained what is probably the worst injury in NFL history. So there is an element of toughness to Theismann.
Played tough football, too. Got himself a Super Bowl.
Lob into the end zone. Garrett's there. Touchdown. The Washington Redskins have an NFL championship.
Joe Theismann is a diva.
He is a diva in every sense of the word.
Joe Theismann is definitely a diva.
Yeah, he was a bit of a whiner at times.
I never hated Joe Theismann. Give me more Joe Theismann.
I love Joe Theismann.
I think Theismann's great.
Joe really was about Joe.
You know, that's why you want to kill the quarterback. Because guys like Joe.
Football diva or not, there's really only one person to settle the debate.
Oh, there's no question, I agree. I fit it all. And in all fairness to me, I didn't realize I was being quite the diva that I actually was.
Coming up, who is the number 7 football diva of all time?
He was a nut.
Today's players try and stand out any way they can.
You think God never farted?
But old school rules when it comes to football divas. Almost any 70s Raider qualifies.
Being a Raider is fortunate for me because I have been off-center most of my career, and they've accepted what I am.
But it sure doesn't hurt to be on America's team.
It's my team.
The number 7 football diva of all time, Hollywood Henderson.
He was a nut.
Hollywood definitely qualifies.
He was a diva, and people didn't like him at all.
The weird thing about it is that he was playing for Tom Landry.
The squarest coach in history had to put up with diva linebacker Thomas Hollywood Henderson in the late 70s.
Tom Landry trying to deal with Hollywood.
Probably was a thorn in Tom Landry's side with the things he did on the sideline and all the antics.
I'm going to slam this over the goalpost with an orange crush after this game.
He did it to call attention to himself.
World champion! Hey! World champion!
He was diva 100%.
I gotta pass on him. Although, anybody with Hollywood in their name, chances are there's some diva tendencies there.
You can't have the nickname Hollywood and not be a diva. There was something about Hollywood that was deserving of the name.
Yeah, just think about the nickname.
Tom, ever since I've known you, you've always been very low-key, very cool, very laid back. Are you really serious about all this Hollywood stuff?
Oh, no, Jane. It's a mere myth.
I'm celebrating. You go over there and talk to him.
Hollywood was unique, you know, because it was braggadocio.
He might have been the most talkative chatterbox.
And it almost masked the fact that he was a great linebacker.
If you're going to be a diva, you had better be able to play.
You know, he was a monster. And he let you know everybody wanted 56 because of Hollywood Henderson. He was another guy who could perform.
Dallas Cowboys, Thomas Henderson.
The guy could play the game. And for a 5 or 6 year run, he was probably the best outside linebacker in football. There was nothing he didn't believe he could do. Now, some of it might have been because of certain vitamins he had running through his body. You know, it might have been a little artificial.
Listen, anytime you play in a Super Bowl and you admit in your water bottle you've got tons of cocaine,
he was whacked out on drugs.
For a few years, he was a really, really good linebacker.
He went straight down the tubes like that.
Cocaine kicked my butt. I thought I was hip, slick, and cool, and tall, tan, and talented. I was Hollywood. My money was long. I'm strong. I'm a big guy, strong guy. Whip me.
Hollywood Henderson was a diva, and he loved every minute of it.
Henderson was a diva. Henderson loved the stage.
Our number 7 was able to continue his diva life after football by twice winning the lottery.
God's favorite player must be Hollywood Henderson because all the stuff that he did when he was playing, to win the lottery not once but twice, means that somebody's smiling on him.
Loudmouth, Dallas Cowboys, all the wild nights out, and the fact that his family has won 2 lotteries in the state of Texas since. Hollywood Henderson, he's the epitome of all this. He should be in the top 5.
The number 6 football diva of all time, Broadway Joe Namath.
Joe Namath really needs to be a lot higher than number 6.
6 is far too low. This was the consummate diva quarterback. When you're talking divas, Joe Namath invented diva.
All right, 75 double choice. Flanker, Argo, out in Tego on 2.
While there may have been guys who fit that characteristic before him, Joe Namath sort of kicks it off in the color television era.
I don't think of him as a classic diva in that he wanted special treatment. I think Joe just kind of blazed a path that it almost commanded special treatment.
Anytime a guy does a commercial wearing pantyhose, that's a diva.
Joe Namath in Beauty Mist Pantyhose? Yes, we did it to prove that Beauty Mist can make any legs look like $1 million.
Now, I don't wear pantyhose, but a Beauty Mist can make my legs look good. Imagine what they'll do for yours.
There aren't too many quarterbacks who have the guts to do a pantyhose commercial.
Sonny Werblin was a Broadway producer, and he was a guy who understood the mindset of New York. He wanted Joe Namath to be more than just a quarterback. He wanted Joe Namath to be a star.
Got to have confidence in your team, got to have confidence in yourself, and if you don't have that confidence, you can't play football.
He took the position of quarterback in the NFL, the whole all-American image, and blew it up.
You think about Joe Namath with cool hair, and you think about the fur coat back in the 60s and early 70s, ahead of his time.
You talk about a player who lived life the way most people would like to live it for a while. I would have loved to have been Joe Namath just one night.
It seems almost un-American to me for a bachelor not to marry, go around having a drink with a lady now and then.
I'll call him a diva, and I love the fur coat and the white shoes. I thought all that was cool because he still played, and he played hard.
Unlike some football divas, Joe Namath was a team player.
I talked to an old teammate of his down here at one of the Super Bowls. He said he was the best teammate you ever had because he worked hard, he was a good quarterback, and then he knew how to have a good time.
Joe Namath is not a diva for this reason. Joe Namath barely had one good meet, and he would drag himself up play after play after play. To play with that level of toughness, you can wear all the fur coats you want off the field.
Namath looking for the end zone, throwing touchdown to Maynard.
mean, even go to the championship game against the Raiders in '68, he got the you-know-what beat out of him in that game by Oakland. I can't look at him as a diva because I don't think he gets enough credit for being as tough as he was.
Took a long time coming, 4 years. He wanted to win every year, first year on.
Namath had his ultimate diva moment in the biggest game of his career.
He has said that the Jets are going to win. He doesn't even predict it. He said, I guarantee.
You never come out before a big game and say, I guarantee we're going to win it. Well, he guarantees he's going to win a game where the Jets are an 18-point underdog, and indeed the Jets go out and win the game.
He may be sitting in one of sports' greatest upsets in history.
He's a hero for life after he did that.
The game is over. The New York Jets are the world champions.
I don't think he was a distraction like I think a lot of divas can be. He just kind of set the standard for doing things his way.
Diana Ross might have been the original diva, and I can't think of anybody more polar opposite from Diana Ross than Joe Namath. This man's man, despite the pantyhose and the fur and all that.
Coming up, which one of our divas was ready for the prime time before he was drafted?
He was a corporation before he became an NFL player.
You got to look good, you play good, pay good, live good.
Before we resume our countdown, here's a look at the list so far.
Number 10, Pretty Boy Brady.
It's only the hair. It's only because he has the long hair.
Number 9, Randy Moss was born a diva.
I came out the womb, I was ready.
Number 8, Joe Theismann has diva characteristics.
He was a bit of a whiner at times.
Cocky? Yes.
Number 7, Hollywood Henderson was ahead of his time.
You're talking about a guy in the 70s.
Number 6, the original diva.
Joe Namath invented diva.
And now, the number 5 football diva of all time, Jim McMahon.
I like being out in the sun, and I can't lay in the sun. You know, it drives me nuts to just lay there. So this way I get a nice tan, get the yard done. My daughter said if I go outside the gate with this on, she's calling the police. I wish I could play golf like this. Just a little something to hold my tees, a little fanny pack or something. Be great.
There is no way Jim McMahon was a diva. That's just insane.
Jim McMahon wasn't a diva. Jim McMahon was goofy.
Jim McMahon, for me, falls more into the sort of jerk category.
Punk? He was a pain in the neck.
He's a deviant, but he's not a diva.
He's a very different sort of cat.
I think he was a diva because he was fighting battles that everybody knew he couldn't win, but Jim fought it anyway.
Our number 5 diva is a proud graduate of BYU.
I always kept asking myself, how in the world did he ever survive BYU?
I mean, coming from BYU, I think he was taking out all those frustrated years of strict discipline and went the other extreme into Chicago.
Jim McMahon showed up on draft day and popped open a beer.
And I was 22 years old. I'd just taken a 3.5-hour flight. I took a 40-minute limo ride to the thing. I was a little thirsty, so I had a beer. Big deal.
He was Dennis the Menace. If he could get into something, he probably would.
McMahon was sort of anti-authoritarian more than anything. I mean, I don't think of him as glamorous by any means. He was just rebellious.
You can call him a diva if you'd like. I'd like to call him a rebel.
Jim McMahon chose to rebel against the most powerful man in football, the commissioner.
One time he wore a headband that said Roselle on it. He was upset. He was protesting.
He was taking on Pete Rozelle and his tyranny against the players.
He probably had one of the most famous Super Bowl weeks in Super Bowl history. He mooned a helicopter at one point.
I was just letting him know where it hurt.
He was not a pretty boy quarterback. Let's face it, he was a rough and tumble quarterback, and he was frankly good for football because he did things differently.
Being a football rebel makes you a football diva.
Mike Ditka said, do this. And Jim McMahon did the opposite. And who would defy Iron Mike Ditka?
He was certifiably crazy at times. As a coach, I've always liked him. I never understood him sometimes, but he never understood me sometimes either, so it was even.
McMahon rolling left, looking to deal. He fires the left side of the end zone.
His teammates really rallied around him. I mean, he was different, but he was smart. He's one of the smartest football guys I've ever talked football with. He had it together a lot more than people realized.
McMahon fakes the hand. Fires the right side. Oh, he goes!
Let me tell you this. You're not a diva if all the O linemen and D linemen love you. Jim McMahon is a macho man.
The number 4 football diva of all time. Primetime Deion Sanders.
He was prime time.
Prime time. Prime time.
The guy had his own name. Everybody called him Prime Time.
I think when you have the nickname Prime Time, it's pretty hard to get away from the diva label. Prime Time might be the one guy on this list who you could call a diva and he'd be delighted. And he'd be probably disappointed if he wasn't on this list.
What time is it? Showtime, prime time.
Deion Sanders, one of the biggest divas in history.
Come on, baby, with your sweet soul.
Deion was a old school entertainer.
He walked the walk and scored the touchdown. He is all entertainer, too, I'll tell you that.
When you put your hand behind your head on the way to the end zone and you're high-stepping, that was Deion.
And the Deion shuffle follows in the left corner of the end zone.
Deion Sanders was just so good.
He is just maybe the finest all-around athlete that's playing the game today.
I liked the way Deion played. I didn't like what Deion did after the celebration began. I kind of rooted against Deion Sanders, but you always knew in the end he was going to get you.
As flamboyant as he was, he really backed it up on the field. I mean, he bounced around to a couple of teams, but he always seemed to be a part of really, really good teams.
Nobody loved the spotlight more.
Let's return it. With 21.
And then if Deion's back there to return a punt, and he's just telling the crowd to, if you're not paying attention to me right now, maybe I can get your attention.
Long spiral to the 21-yard line to Deion to the 30.
Dances right, dances left, dances up the middle 40. Midfield, it's a foot race with the punter.
Deion 20, 15, 10, 5, Deion Sanders.
No one can touch him.
Watching Deion Sanders is amazing. I mean, he is like an extra jersey on these receivers.
He made a bunch of interceptions when they never threw to his side of the field.
And Deion Sanders leaped and intercepted on our 39-yard line.
We put him on the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. He deserves it.
Prime time in Baltimore.
I just think he brings a lot to the game in terms of star power, and I think that's good for the game.
Our number 4 diva appeared in MC Hammer videos, while MC Hammer appeared on the sidelines and in the locker room. All the practice in the limelight has helped Sanders with his job in front of the camera today.
You're pretty darn good. When you talk about analysts now, as diva-esque as he might have been as a player, I don't think anybody can break things down better because he can do the football side and the entertainment side and getting guys' heads.
He's the flashiest entertainer the NFL's ever known. Who's bigger than him? Prime time. Game over.
Up next, which diva loves the camera more than anyone?
Sort of like the kid that sticks his hand in the cookie jar and wants to make sure someone's looking.
The preseason is coming, and
Many wide receivers are football divas.
A grab by Plexico at the 25-yard line.
He strikes the ball. He wasn't down. He wasn't down. Nobody touched him.
Yes, he was. No, and here comes Jacksonville.
Keyshawn a little frustrated, obviously, because he just wants the damn ball.
Keyshawn Johnson made his opinion known, but he didn't make our list.
They haven't thrown him a pass here in the second half.
Come on, man.
Even the playmaker wasn't enough of a football diva.
Give me the ball, we win the game. I'm telling you that's your best bet.
What do you think about Dagger?
Selfishness is a competitive spirit to have. There's nothing wrong with being selfish.
The number 3 football diva of all time, Chad Johnson.
Chad is definitely a diva. I mean, Chad, you know you're a diva. You know. Anytime you change your name, that makes you a diva, right?
Ocho Cinco from now on. Anybody that writes about whatever I say today, you call me Ocho Cinco. Do not say Chad.
He checks every box. Flamboyant.
I'm going to give you your money's worth before I leave the day.
Thinking of himself more than the team.
I'm always open.
Always wanting to be on camera.
If I get in the end zone, make sure you keep the camera on me.
Always wanting to be a center of attention.
Y'all talking about me?
Just think about some of those end zone celebrations.
I got a great celebration for you guys. Again, just wait and see the next one. Okay.
I think my favorite one of all of them was that river dance thing.
Chad Johnson doing a dance in the end zone.
Mock marriage proposal to a Bengal cheerleader.
Chad Johnson on the sideline got on a knee like he was proposing to Daphne over there. And I don't know if Daphne accepted or not.
Didn't he pull the pylon and use it to putt?
Looks like he's got a putt in front of him.
I got to act like I'm Tiger right now.
And sinks it. Touchdown, CJ.
Part of me really loves him, loves the creativity of the dance, but to put the yellow Hall of Fame jacket on, outrageous.
I just inducted myself.
I mean, who is he to vote himself into the Hall of Fame? Who is he?
I'm not the bad guy. I love you.
He's not out to embarrass anybody. I think that he's out just to have fun. That's part of what he is.
And Chad is rewarding some of the fans. Chad Johnson, the Mr. Showman.
He's a carnival act by now. It's not the joyous celebration of a great play. It's I thought about this ahead of time, and I thought this would be really cool for the TV cameras. And that's not real football.
Chad, please.
A guy who says child please in my neighborhood, bro.
You know what child please means. Like if somebody come to you, if coach come to you and be like, man, did he cover you? You can just look at coach and be like, man, coach, child please, because you really disrespecting me, right? Child please. Child please. Child please.
Where I'm from, that just doesn't go. Not with tough guys, anyway.
Man, child please, man.
I think Chad's a diva, but I would never question his toughness because I've seen him take some huge hits.
I'm tweeting, checking my tweets.
The business network, CNBC, voted our number 3 diva the number 1 most influential athlete in the social media.
With the reality shows, the talk show with Terrell this past year, the Dancing with the Stars, definitely a diva. I'm surprised he was only number 3.
I have a Twitter show. If you're following, anything I say is a show.
For the new era of athlete, nobody gets the idea of building your brand better than Chad.
Chad Johnson's going to have more opportunities even when he gets done playing football because he's such a master promoter.
I have seen him in training camp. I've seen him in the off season. He works about as hard trying to get better as almost anybody I've seen in recent years.
I want to be one of the greatest to ever play this game.
That's not a secret.
But I want to be better than Rice.
That's right.
Y'all got to help me.
And we're going to help you.
We know how good he is. I don't quite understand why you need that special attention.
85, who can cover him? He says nobody.
Guys that have played with him love Chad Johnson.
You always count on me. I'm like life insurance.
He sort of is in the true spirit of what Joe Namath was and then what Primetime was, what a diva can be, but not to the point where they're a full-blown distraction.
Coming up, is our number 2 diva really one of the good guys?
Never been arrested. He doesn't drink. It's all about him.
Football divas used to have great nicknames like the Mad Stork, the Snake, the Diesel, White Shoes, the Boz, the Fridge, or Primetime. Now the nicknames are as boring as the players are exciting. LT? AP, anyone? A-Rod? The nicknames are as reserved as players' personalities. Most players, that is.
The number 2 football diva of all time, Terrell Owens.
Number 2. How can he not be number 1?
All I want to know if you got your popcorn ready.
T.O. is definitely a diva.
I'm not sure he was a diva as much as he was just sort of an odd personality.
Terrell Owens is the biggest diva in football history, but he's also the greatest showman.
They want a show. They about to get one.
I call him more of a jerk than a diva, but you call him what you want.
If there's a camera, he's finding it.
Look, Mama, they got these cameras on me again.
Thank God in the prime of his career there was no Twitter. That's all I can say.
He's different, and being different is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm over there slobbing on myself.
When he came into the league, he was very quiet, but then at some point, he figured out if you do things that are controversial, but you can back them up on the field, you can be a star.
He did not just take the pom-poms and start cheering.
We know T.O.'s got a long laundry list of reasons to be a diva.
What was he thinking?
Doing a celebration on a star, early signs of being a diva. Crying at a press conference, diva.
It's my team. It's my quarterback.
Taking a Sharpie out of your sock and signing a football, diva.
Is that a pin?
Yeah, he had a pin in his sock.
That's a first.
It just seems with Terrell that things rarely are his fault.
They can hate me all y'all want to, but you can't stop it.
Terrell Owens has been suspended by the team.
He was never shy when things were going bad about speaking up and saying that, you know, the house is on fire and I'm the only one who sees what's going on, and so I have to speak my mind.
No, I'm tired of running. Y'all rough or nothing. Come on, man. I know how to play football, man. Y'all tripping now.
Only thing that was a little strange was the sit-ups in the driveway. I mean, but hell, if I look like T.O., I'll probably take my shirt off and do sit-ups in the driveway, too.
I love me some me. I'm in a league of my own. They ain't ready for me.
Our number 2 diva, Terrell Owens, has become a bit of a football nomad.
Despite a reputation of clashing with the quarterback,
I was open, Jill.
another team signs up for him.
Talk to him, coach.
I mean, he wants to be quarterback. He wants to be the loudest voice in the huddle. We've learned traditionally that really doesn't work.
And Donovan's just trying to get away from him and find some peace, but he would not let it rest.
In some cases, you wondered if things got blown out of proportion just because it's T.O.
Put that in your pipe and smoke.
The one aspect in which Terrell Owens was not a diva was in Super Bowl 39, when he went out and played on that broken ankle with the screws in it and caught 9 passes from Donovan McNabb.
Terrell Owens caught the pass, did a pirouette, took off for 37 yards.
I'm gonna have a leg and they can't stop.
Here's the funny thing about a lot of these divas. They're somewhat likable in some ways. With T.O., there's really no middle ground. He's not a likable guy.
The fact that he's burned bridges wherever he was makes him maybe the ultimate diva in the history of the game.
I like it when they talk dirty to me.
He should open a PR business when he's through, because nobody knows more about PR than T.O.
Coming up, who is the #1 football diva of all time?
I'm so glad you have him on this list.
Before we reveal our #1 football diva, here's a look at the list so far.
Number 10, the beautiful Tom Brady.
I wish I could be Tom Brady.
Number 9,
I don't even think he perks up when he sees the cameras. I think, if anything, he hates the cameras.
a diva that doesn't like the media.
I will come here and try to do the best I can to rip the NFL up.
Number 8, Joe Theismann's a humble diva.
I didn't realize I was being quite the diva that I actually was.
Number 7, hooray for Hollywood.
Are you really serious about all this Hollywood stuff?
Oh, no, Jane. It's a mere myth.
Number 6, Broadway Joe Namath.
Oh, yeah, he was a diva. But it was a cultivated diva.
Number 5, Diva Jim McMahon bears all.
I wish I could play golf like this. Just a little something to hold my tees.
Number 4,
What time is it? Showtime, prime time.
Neon Dion lives the limelight.
He is all entertainer.
Number 3,
If I get in the end zone, make sure you keep the camera on me.
all eyes on Ocho.
Chad Johnson, his creativity is just something else, and he's not finished yet.
Number 2, T.O., Diva or Deviant.
You guys, Donovan McNabb in Philadelphia. I don't know, ask Tony Romo and Jason Witten in Dallas. Those guys could tell you better than I could.
And now, the #1 football diva of all time, Brett Favre.
I'm so glad you have him on this list. I am so glad you have Brett Favre #1 on this. I completely agree.
I am officially retiring. I've always wanted to be a Packer. I think I always will be a Packer.
No NFL player, okay, has ever got his rear end more kissed by the media than Brett Favre. Nobody.
There's a lot of drama involved with Brett Favre.
In his own Favre-like way, he couldn't get enough.
What you've done in your career,
Yep.
it'll never be done again, Brett. In this era,
That's
it'll
true.
never happen again. Nobody will ever do the things you did.
Yep.
And to play the games that you played consecutively,
I am pretty great.
that'll never happen again.
The one thing you cannot ever quibble with is playing 300 games.
Nobody could dispute the man's toughness, the man's love of the game.
You're talking about a guy who played like 300 consecutive games.
Can't deny that he played the game as rugged and reckless of any quarterback maybe in history.
Here's a guy who's only missed the final 4 games of his career.
Somehow it morphed into divahood for Favre.
How did you go from the kid
I'm sitting here just goofing off.
who'd jump around in celebration, who players would literally throw themselves off of buildings for, to someone who thought he was bigger than the game?
He's cheesy. It's perfect that he played in Green Bay.
I'm gonna wear those for you.
Being down south, he had a little bit of aw shucks to him.
Oreo cookie. And we got a dandy brewing.
Oh, he's just a regular guy. Everybody loves Brett Favre.
Put her in the old body.
And he loved it. He lived for it. This guy got off on the attention.
This future Hall of Famer isn't a diva for the way he played the game,
The Vince Lombardi Trophy is coming home.
but for how he left.
I am officially retiring.
All of us have trouble realizing when it's time to leave.
16 years is hard to forget for everyone.
This guy with his 15 retirements and the drama.
The way he did it on and on again, maybe he just kind of likes the spotlight a little bit.
And I don't think I got anything left to give.
I'm retired. I'm not retired. I'm crying. I'm leaving. I'm coming back.
I'll talk it over with my wife. I'll go back to Mississippi and we'll have a conversation. We'll think it over. Like, God, man, it just got so infuriating and so annoying and so self-indulgent.
Try to get the old bones loose.
The off-season drama. No one wants to go to Mississippi ever. No one, ever.
As the World Turns in Mississippi, starring Brett Favre.
It's just a place with woods and crawfish. There is nothing to do there. Why do we continuously follow this clown around, getting on and off Cessnas, waving to the media? That was a joke.
The way he negotiated his end game, not the most stylish thing, but who am I to judge?
What happened to me?
Now, Brett Favre, there's your diva. There's your diva right there. Yeah.
Brett Favre is a diva. I don't think it's unfair.
I can't argue against that.
He was a diva. Brett Favre was a diva.
He's the biggest diva of all time.
Oh, Brett Favre is the quintessential diva.
I think at the end, clear-cut divahood for Favre.
Oh, without a doubt. The all-time diva. The all-time, it's all about me.
No question.
Yes, that's the perfect #1.
Brett Favre makes me sick to my stomach. I mean, this guy he should just absolutely, when he dies, they should put him in a dress in his casket and put flowers in his hand and lipstick on.
And that's from the heart. That's it.
We have reached the end of our list, but the debate continues.
I would suggest T.O.'s the biggest diva I've ever seen.
I just want to see professionalism.
A diva is a wide receiver. Let's face it.
But it seems that that position just kind of breeds divas.
The only reason people cared about anything about a diva is that they could play.
Score the touchdown, hand the ball to the referee, come back, score another touchdown.
Divas can be tiresome, but I think you have to have them. It certainly adds to the storylines.
But the word diva on a football field, I'm not so sure I like that.